Hey guys, welcome to Manifesting Better. I'm back with another video and another topic that needs to be addressed. I also have an Instagram account, the link for that is in the description box below. Coaching is also available, the link for that too is in the description box below. Hey guys, hope you're well. So in this video, I want to talk about forgiveness while manifesting a specific person, or forgiveness while bettering or wanting to better any relationship in your life. Now this will be a follow-up video to the previous video that I posted where I talked about resentment and why we build up resentment. So I would watch that video first. That would make more sense, because in that video I also, after sharing a few points, I talked about the fact that I will be making a separate video on this topic where I would be discussing the topic of forgiveness. So here it is, here's the video. Now I will try to dissect this video into points because there are a few points that I would like to cover. I would also like to give you a disclaimer. So two disclaimers actually. The first one, as I mentioned in the previous video, if you yourself, being a conscious, mature adult, is taking a decision to want to go after someone, then forgiveness, when we talk about forgiveness, first topic that comes up is that, isn't it really unfair for me to forgive that person, right? The thing is that if you are taking a decision to actually go after that person, knowing full well what the circumstances are or what the circumstances were, then that's your call to make. My job is not to tell you if it's unfair or not. It's you who is taking a decision, and you know about your life better than anyone, right? It's important to understand the whys of your decision and the reason that you would want to go after a scenario in the first place. If your reasoning of going after a particular scenario is that all these negative circumstances that have been created in my life have been created by me, then a better way to first look at, and that is the reason that this person should get my forgiveness and I am going after him or her, is because I feel that I have created them to be this way. They are this way because of my assumptions. So the first thing I would say is that relationships don't end because of one person. Relationships and any kind of dynamic always end because of two people, right? You clap from both hands. But it's important to understand that people who use this as an excuse are just using this as an excuse because they want to justify the other person's bad behavior. Because if they accept that the person treated them bad and they keep going after them, they will either feel guilty or they will have no reason to continue to pursue it, right? Instead, if you want to look at it from the topic of everyone is you pushed out, think about it this way, that I allowed that behavior long enough in my life, that is why it kept on persisting, right? So that's a separate topic. As I mentioned before, I will make a different video on that very soon. That's one thing. The second disclaimer is, I'm not talking about abusive situations here. I don't condone people to actually go after trying to get people who have abused them back in their life. Because if you are someone who's coming from that place and trying to get that person back in your life, I think what you need to first focus on is yourself. Because if you're going after that and pursuing that, it's not about shame or guilt. It's just that you need to really understand why you are actually pursuing that situation. So that would be a better way for you to start your journey in that regard. Now, let's say that you have decided and you have made a decision that I want to work on manifesting this person back and I want to work on forgiveness. First thing I would say is that it's not absolutely necessary for you to forgive to get something, but it is absolutely necessary for you to work on forgiveness if you want to maintain something. Because if you won't maintain something, then what will happen is eventually that kind of dynamic would consistently keep going on. You will keep holding on to resentment against that person, which will be projected into some part of your relationship later, which will result in the relationship not working out anyway. So for us to actually have a long-term solution to the problem that we created in the first place, we have to be in a position where we can forgive from a consistent level. Because if we won't do that, then we are just making sure that the relationship that we are working so hard to get in our lives will not last. Usually what I have seen is people have forgiven resentment against three situations, one of three things. So I have worked with a lot of clients. I have worked with more than 5,000 clients now. And what I have seen is that there is a common theme of how people develop resentment, right? So the first resentment that people usually develop is either against the concept of manifestation, that, oh, I have been working on manifesting something for a while and it hasn't worked out for me, or against their circumstances. So let's first go deep into this and understand how to deal with this. People who usually have resentment when it comes to the concept of manifestation are people who have been trying to use manifestation as a way to change someone and get them in their life, and when they are not seeing instant results from that, they start to develop resentment against the concept because they are getting very frustrated that things around them are not changing, and things are not changing because they are not changing, and they are getting agitated towards it. So it's just like that fox who did not eat the grapes and said that the grapes are sour. So they would rather blame the concept of manifestation because it gives them an egoistical way to actually soothe themselves, because it's better to tell themselves that manifestation didn't work than to actually accept that I did not do it right. Sorry if that went a little bit deep. If we have to simplify it, what happens is, most of the times when people get into this journey, especially to get a person back, especially when there is the topic of forgiveness involved, what is actually happening is that they are coming from a place of too much desperation, too much lack, too much need, right? And in that moment, just as I would, just as anyone else would, we are looking for some instant results. And when in that moment, instant results are not coming, what is happening is we start to develop resentment and we get very frustrated. Why is this person not coming back? It has been 15 days I have been affirming. Why is this person not changing? And under the pretense of actually telling ourselves we are changing, all we are doing is just we are chasing that person with a different mask. Earlier we were open about it. Now we are using the concept of manifestation techniques to chase them. And once we get into a place where we start to get better with it, we start to then realize that the resentment does not make sense, because first, manifestation doesn't care if we believe in it or not, right? So the concept of manifestation is not sitting there, with their face on the left side saying, I won't talk to you because you don't believe in me. Manifestation doesn't care, right? If something works in a particular way, it works in a particular way. It does not care if you believe in it or not. It does not care if you want to believe in it or not. It does not care if you're doing it right or not. It just exists, right? Just like the sun doesn't care if you feel it's hot. The sun doesn't care if you feel it's cold. So first is accepting that if I am getting that frustration against manifestation, what I'm basically saying is that someone outside of me is coming and telling me that there is a chance that I can take responsibility of my life and change it. And I don't want to do that, or I don't want to believe in that, right? Does not make sense. Secondly, you need to actually understand that if I would actually change myself, I wouldn't feel the need to have resentment against manifestation or my circumstances, because I would know that circumstances are circumstances. They can change. I can feel pain, I can feel weird, but I wouldn't suffer, right? If I am not changing, then no matter the circumstances change or not, I will still be agitated, still be in that consistent zone of worry. So if you want to work on forgiveness towards the concept of manifestation, understand that there is nothing to forgive, only to accept that at this moment my circumstances look this way. And it's not because they look this way that they cannot change ever. It just means they look this way, and that does not really have a meaning in themselves. And manifestation doesn't care if I like it or not, or if I believe in it or not. It works regardless. The second thing that people have resentment against is their specific person, or the opposite gender, if they are manifesting the opposite gender. So I will give you an example. I got a client the other day. She was a woman who was manifesting a guy in her life, right? She was going general about the topic, but she had this one guy that she was, slightly involved with. She told me this one thing. She said that it's very difficult for me to believe that men would ever be trustworthy, or I can ever trust a guy. My father cheated on my mom. My brother actually never treated me right. All my past relationships I have been left. So whenever this guy is actually late in replying, I project that resentment against him. Or the resentment that I've developed from all these men, I project it against him, and I hope that he fulfills it, because otherwise I'm just going to, finally believe that all men are the same. So first, all men cannot possibly be the same. There is a guy making this video right now. I haven't cheated on anyone ever. So yeah, all men cannot cheat, right? That's the first thing. Secondly, I have been cheated on by women, and I have people who have never actually cheated on me and have been super loyal to me. One of them is listening to this video. So yeah, you can have different people involved in your life. Now, what you have to understand from this is to take into account is that if you hold someone at the edge of a sword, then they are eventually going to fall on it. So if you're just always going to put someone in a position where they have to act perfectly, otherwise you will have this unrealistic expectation that they cannot be a human being, and if they act as a human being, I will just react and I will just create this resentment against them. Does not really help. So the first way to actually learn to forgive there is, again, to accept the fact that there is nothing to forgive at this moment, because this person in this moment hasn't given me any reason to forgive them. If I have resentment against men in general, I don't have to project it all towards him. But if you are working towards getting someone in your life and that person has a past with you where you have a specific person involved, where you have a lot of resentment against them, my first answer would be to pull away from communication right now. Because what you will see is that when you are in communication with that person on a regular basis, which most people are when they shouldn't be, especially when they're trying to get someone back and they settle for half-hearted situations, it's because they feel that if I don't settle for that half-hearted situation, I will never get more. But because they keep settling for that half-hearted situation, they keep getting more reasons to hate that person, because they are developing resentment against them, because in their mind they are thinking that, oh, this person is still treating me this way, they're still not giving me what I want. But they are very clear right now that they aren't. It's my inability to walk away and to respect myself that is the reason I resent them, right? So working on that would be a very helpful thing for you. The third thing that people actually develop resentment against is themselves. Now, all resentment is not bad. If I have consistently put myself down and I feel guilty, maybe I should feel guilty, right? Not all guilt is bad, as long as it's teaching me something. I had a client I was talking to the other day and she said, I feel very guilty. I asked her, why do you feel guilty? She said, because I booked a flight and I went outside of my SP's house and I started calling his name and he was with someone else, like he was sleeping with some girl, and he came out with that girl. They were all laughing at me. I feel very guilty. I did hurt myself. I said, you should feel guilty. You did something that actually hurt you to a great degree. And you should, like your emotions are valid here. You should feel bad about it. But that does not mean that you have to carry on that guilt forever. This guilt can actually be a very good catalyst for you to tell yourself, I will never put myself in this position again. And every time you are about to chase, remember this feeling, because this feeling will make sure that you never chase again. So forgiving yourself first is accepting that most of the times our feelings are valid. If sometimes we have put ourselves down and the feeling is coming as a consequence of that, that's not always wrong. But if the event has ended and I have worked on myself and I consistently keep still putting myself down, then a very good way to actually move forward is to tell yourself that I don't know what could have been if I wouldn't have done that action. Now, don't use this as an excuse to sabotage now. But if you have already done something, tell yourself first, I don't know what could have been, right? Maybe the circumstances would be even worse than what they are now. And if the circumstances were worse or could have been worse than what they are now, by doing that, at least I taught myself something, right? So if I'm saying that everything is a part of the how, this could have been a part of the how too. For me to actually go through that so that I can learn what I needed to learn, for me to become the version of me who I had to become, for me to receive what I want. Getting that clarity in your mind is super helpful, because once I'm able to do that, I'm able to stop punishing myself for the mistakes I have made in the past and actually use those mistakes as a way for me to actually move forward as a human being now. So I hope this video helps. I know that this is a video that a lot of you are looking for, so I tried to make it as detailed as possible. If you get any questions, of course, leave them down in the comments below. I will try to cover it either here or on my Instagram, either through stories or a reel or something. So I will see you guys soon and hope you have a good day. Click the like button if you liked the video. Subscribe and turn the notifications on for more such content. Comment down your video suggestions and I will see you guys in the next one.